consist of putting 2 layers of skim coat on the outside of the ceiling. And last week we put skim coat on the inside. We're going to be putting 3 layers of Venetian plaster finish on the outside of this ceiling here, on the outer part, all along where my fingers are. And then inside we're doing gold grass cloth. I'm not trying to create a 90 on this bullnose. No, that would not even be structurally sound. But what I am doing is eliminating the texture on it, as you'll see later on in the video. In order to do that, we have to fill in the profile of the texture. This is a very thick knockdown texture, and in order to fill in that knockdown on these curved bullnose corners, you have to do what appears to be eliminating the bullnose entirely. But since that would not be structurally sound, you would get cracks all over the place. We're going to file, so to speak, this down. This just affords me the greatest opportunity to fill in the profile, and it eliminates the need to repeatedly put multiple coats of compound in the profile. So although this looks like a 90 here, that's not what I'm trying to achieve. I'm really trying to achieve this. Just forming the corners, rounded, but without the appearance of the knockdown on the rounded corners. So it'll take a lot of finessing, but in the end, we will achieve the desired result. Not an easy task. But it will require a lot of finesse. We don't want to do this with a sanding block to create all that dust. So we're finishing it as much as possible while it's wet. When this stiffens up, I will be able to take this corner down better. If I keep rubbing now, I'll collapse the corner. When it gets drier, I'm able to erode the corner and make it conform more according to this bevel here, this bull nose.
In this video, I went around and I did the crown molding. First, in the outer part of the rest of the ceiling, but then again, after this, in the middle of the tray ceiling as well. The customer had changed his mind a few times about what color he wanted above the part that you see me painting. First it was gold, then it was gray, and he finished off with what you see here, the blue, in the general bedroom crown molding area. But then he switched to the blue that you see in the central tray ceiling after it was gold. So anyway, this was how I finished it off. I decided to use a sponge roller because you know to separate the color that I'm painting from the color above it, it would be very difficult to use a brush and not splatter it on the ceiling. And so I used a sponge roller. They're very good when you're painting the outside corners of walls as well. When one side of the corner is one color and the other side is drastically different. In that case, I hate when I see even a 32nd of an inch of one color onto the next side. I always find that it's best to go with a, what I call a dry sponge roller, just introducing the color on the corner with a very mildly wet roller. And then you keep rolling it repeatedly over and over again, and you control how much color goes onto the corner. Let's see the rest of the video.
So I've completed the skim coat. The entire ceiling has been skim coated. And as you can see, even the bull noses were skim coated. Takes a lot of patience. And we'll be putting a Venetian plaster finish on this. So we're now applying an acrylic super gold finish on this rim. And just to expedite it, I'm doing it with a brush, but then I'll switch to a roller to lay it out. And of course, I'm now using a low nap roller. Small wall underneath this tray ceiling here. And I'm using a metallic paint, water-based. Por favor, termínalo, está bloqueando la luz. That's the practice run. We'll see if the customer likes it. I hope he does. And that's what we're going to try to do on the rest of it. On the ceiling, we're going to be hanging a gold grass cloth. If you like this finish, let me show you how I did it. First of all, this was a knockdown texture, which I skim coated and rendered flat. And then I used two metallic colors. The first of which is what you see beneath this dark color. And it's called and I simply painted it on. And now I'm putting on the darker color, which is, it's a metallic paint. And it's gold base, but it's tinted. And it's tinted to a color called bronzed ochre. You could do any variation of these colors. But I will show you how I came to that look with these colors. It's very simple. For those of you who are into crafts, you already know what I did. But if you're looking to have this color, I want to show you what I did. You can see that the second color doesn't cover the same and block the first color, right? So I simply took a wrinkled up rag, which is damp, and just dabbed it on. And what you do is you're taking a little of the top color off while leaving a lot of the undercolor on. And that's the effect. Dark and light, dark and light. And that's the effect that we wanted here. That's all. So the first thing we want to do is make sure that we have a straight line against which to start hanging our sheets. And the best way to do this is to use a chalk line, to snap a line, or to use a laser level. And here's our Bosch laser level doing the job for us. If you use a chalk line, make sure that the color of the chalk does not impede the beauty of your wall cover. When you're hanging wallpaper on the ceiling, this is the way you want to hold it. You see how I have it folded? And you can see that as you get up there with a helper, you see this forward part right here? That's the part I'm going to start with. So that you don't have 12 feet of wallpaper hanging over your face. You'll only have the amount that you see folded. And the rest will be sustained in the hands of your helper. See, if I were to demonstrate this now, if you just imagine the wall covering being opened at each fold, it will be sustained in sections, and it will be far easier to handle like this. So when you're cutting on a radius like this, it's very hard to cut your wall covering. So I suggest you use a curved spatula. does the trick. That is our gold ceiling. So that was the finishing effect. What you're looking at is a very thin gold wallpaper, but it's obscured by a white cotton-like string on top of the gold. Anyway, as you can see, you have 1, 2, 3 colors underneath the ceiling. And then what you're looking at is we're finishing the Venetian plaster around the ceiling. This took 3 coats of Venetian plaster, and now what we're doing is we're waxing it. You can see the shine there.